Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webisode of All Politics Are Local. I'm WSAV Now reporter John Dowding. Every week, we take the time to break down those big headlines coming out of Washington to see how it impacts us right here in the coastal empire and low country. As always, we're being joined by WSAV Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer. Kelly, you're wearing a bright yellow, like, what is turtleneck? And it's so rainy and dreary down here today in Savannah. I don't know how it is in D.C. right now, but you're making my day brighter.
Oh, you know what? I just picked it out. I said we need some sunny, bright colors today. It's Tuesday. It's a little sunny here actually, but I know we're expecting some snow. So hopefully we'll bring some sun today for your
Yeah, I know my dad has been complaining incessantly about the snow he's had to shovel back home in Jersey. They got like 2 feet
Mhm.
last week. So I've been down here just like, oh, well, I went for a walk on the beach 2 weeks ago. And I know he hates that, but I'm sure you hate me telling you that too. But anyway, we have a lot of other things to talk about. We're not Al Roker here talking about the weather, but so many it's so weird. It's just like I feel like every week we're sitting down and we're like more history's being made. It's another first of all another impeachment trial for the same president, even though he's out of office after the Capitol was attacked by a mob of his supporters. We first of all none of us could have predicted this. None of us could have seen any of this coming. But here we are again, almost exactly a year after the first impeachment trial. We are now going through a second impeachment proceeding, which is going to start today, later this afternoon. Right now, we're filming on Tuesday morning, and so later this afternoon, that those impeachment proceedings will begin. You're probably going to see all the coverage on all the networks. We're going to be broadcasting it on WSAV. We'll have a wrap up this evening on our shows. But Kelly, you're going to be watching this from start to finish and listening and talking to everyone involved. So, what are you hearing right now from people on both sides as this trial is about to begin?
Yeah, we've been hearing, all along that Republicans really don't want this to move forward. Republican senators, they believe it's unconstitutional. Many of them do. At least from like some of the Sunday shows we were watching. Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, a Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, all argue that this shouldn't be going forward, that it's over before it even gets started. There was a Republican Senator, Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, who believed it is constitutional. So what you're going to see happening today is that 4 hours of debate on whether it is constitutional or not. We expect this to then continue into Wednesday as the trial really kicks off. Now, the question of how long this will go on for has been, thrown around here on Capitol Hill, because what we want to get back to, what many senators want to get back to, is the COVID relief, which I know we're going to get to ourselves here in a minute. But when will this all wrap up? Is this just going to be a quick, speedy trial? Because in the end, they don't have the votes they need to convict the president right now. They need 17 Republicans if all 50 Democrats vote to convict, which we don't even know if all Democrats will vote to convict. So it really is, like Rand Paul said, in a sense, over before it even started, because they know how this is all going to end. So where they want to play this out, do they want to play this out when they know they want to work on pandemic relief? Even the White House isn't focusing on impeachment. They are focusing very much on COVID relief. So it's a really interesting time, really interesting timing for this all to play out, of course, in the middle of this pandemic. And also with former President Trump, now out of office.
And I think what's also, you bring up a great point, is the fact that the White House isn't even paying attention to this. I mean, I think today Joe Biden is going to be, like you said, he's doing COVID relief. Tomorrow he's going to visit the Pentagon. He's just acting business as normal. He's just going out saying, we have these multiple crises I have to deal with, and I'm gonna just go deal with it. And when you bring up the I word of impeachment, it's funny. Like Jen Psaki is kind of just like, doesn't involve us, talk to the Senate, talk to
Now
Congress.
to the
That's all it's
senators.
them.
Yeah, because he's really trying to, build on what he delivered in his inaugural address about unifying the country. And this is something that's very divisive. So he is trying to just stay away from that and just kind of focus on the pandemic, which is what he's been trying to focus on all along. And even some Democrats agree with him. We want to play a little bit here from a press conference Tuesday morning from Democratic senators, including Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, that came out to discuss COVID relief here at Capitol Hill on the first day of the impeachment trial. Take a listen.
To the pundits who said we can't do both at once, we say you are wrong. We can and we are. The bottom line is simple. The Senate is moving full steam ahead on a bold plan to get this country out of the crisis, to speed vaccination distribution, provide a lifeline to small businesses, help schools reopen safely, save the job of teachers, firefighters, and other public employees, and so much more. Our country has so suffered.
Again, you're hearing from Democratic leadership on Capitol Hill. Kelly, something else I wanted to bring up about impeachment is one, the fact of what we are saying is it's pretty much over before it even started. I think, but I want something I have been interested in since Joe Biden was declared president-elect, since Georgia lost both of their Republican senators, is this reckoning in the Republican Party going on right now about who they are as a party. I mean, call a spade a spade. Democrats barely know who they are to begin with alone because they have such a wide, broad coalition of voters and supporters and ideologies in that party. But the Republican Party united overwhelmingly around Trumpism and around the president, around his ideologies, around his rhetoric, around everything that he brought to that party as a candidate and then later as a president. And now we're seeing he lost his attempt at a second term. He inspired an insurrection on the Capitol, which all of the senators were witnesses to. And somebody else, I think on one of the morning shows, brought it up too, that this impeachment trial is going on at the scene of the crime. It's just, I hate using this word unprecedented because it's so overused, but it is. And so my biggest thing that I'm looking out for in the next week, in the next couple of days and all of that, we saw part of it last week where Republicans kind of started to signal that they're going to be the party of everybody, in the sense of they did not remove Liz Cheney from leadership, who voted to impeach President Trump, but they also were not going to overwhelmingly condemn Marjorie Taylor Greene for her rhetoric and the things she said before she was elected. I really want to see where Republicans are coming out on this, on impeachment. Granted, let's get real, most of them are not going to vote to impeach. We're not, again, I'm no fortune teller, but I think, the president's probably going to be acquitted. The former president, I should say. But I think what's going to be interesting here is seeing what Republicans' reasons for voting to acquit him are. Whether it's this is unconstitutional, whether it's just because they wanted to support him. I think that's going to be interesting to look at.
And yeah, like you said, I mean, I think the Republican Party and as you mentioned, Democrats too. I mean, there's the very progressive wing of the party, and there's the not so progressive wing of the like there's divisions and divides in these parties, which is also a good thing in the sense that there's so many different ideas being represented across our country. So it's just kind of figuring out how they can come together and maybe form this party that goes forward and unify in a way that they can move forward and represent the ideas of their constituents is the challenge that really lies ahead of them. But it will be interesting to see how everybody votes on this, what their reasonings are, as you mentioned. We also caught up with Georgia Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock Tuesday morning, who was discussing both COVID and impeachment. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
And so this week, as the Senate takes up this impeachment trial, please know that I will sit as an impartial juror. I will listen to the evidence, and then I will render a decision. But even as we focus appropriately on that issue, and amid these historic and serious proceedings, make no mistake that my top priorities are getting the vaccines distributed so we can get this virus under control.
And again, you just heard from one of our new senators here in Georgia, Reverend Raphael Warnock, Savannah native, I should add too, talking about impeachment. And obviously the biggest thing on the Biden administration's agenda is COVID relief. We've heard President Biden's pitch on unity, his campaign platform, his message during his inauguration, all about unity, all about unifying the country. That's what he wanted to do with COVID relief. He wanted to have both parties come to the table, negotiate, figure out a solution, and then move forward. But now we're just seeing that Democrats are moving forward with this budget resolution, basically just using their simple majority to kind of push through what they want. It seems like that both sides are just not agreeing on the overall price tag. So, Kelly, what are you hearing on the Hill about COVID relief and where they are in the process? Because we heard, like I said last week, Democrats are going to just move ahead with a simple majority to get it through. Can't agree on a price tag. Where are we at now with COVID relief?
Well, we even heard from the White House really, they reached out last week and invited those 10 GOP senators to the White House, trying to see where they can meet in the middle, where they can reach a compromise. But really, at the end of the week, you saw President Biden really going full force on this $1.9 trillion package, really not wanting to pull back or drop the amount from the stimulus check. He's maybe saying we'll target it more, but we're not going to change that number. So he's really doubling down on the size of that package and really saying we need this, especially when he has the support of Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen saying you can't really go too big. We need to do this. So, you're going to see them pushing for that number as we go ahead. The House is going to be working on crafting what they want to see in it. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Friday that you could expect them to send it to the Senate probably in the next 2 weeks. So we're looking at next week maybe, and just as potentially the Senate wraps up that impeachment trial next week, then they'll come back and pick up with it. The end result here is they're looking to pass the package before mid-March, when extended unemployment benefits expire in mid-March there. So they're trying to get this massive package through essentially in 4 weeks or so between the House and the Senate and come to an agreement. They would like to get Republicans on board, is something that Democrats on both the House and the Senate have said. But as you mentioned, they are prepared to pass it without Republican support if necessary.
And I think something else too was another point that I heard over the last couple of days was talking about in the Obama administration in his first term when we were going through the economic recession. There was a lot of criticism on that administration, which obviously Biden was the vice president, he was part of that administration, where they said that what the cost of the stimulus that they had during that administration was too low. A lot of people came out against that stimulus and said this is too low for what people were going through at that time. So I think that's why we're seeing this administration, we're seeing Biden's administration ask for such a high price tag, where we're seeing Republicans ask for like basically almost half of that, if not less than half of that, of what the president is asking for, President Biden is asking for. So I think we're seeing Biden's administration come out and really just try to go, I hate to say this like this, but they're just saying like, go big or go home. If we get more, we get more. They want to do more they want to provide more relief for families with children, provide, more money for them, provide stimulus to everybody who can take it and everybody who can get it. They're really trying to just shore things up and kind of just really bank on having such a high stimulus cost that it'll help everybody get through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we'll see at the end of the day, they're going to get this package done. I think you can expect that they're very much focused on this. I mean, the White House completely this week is 100% focused on this pandemic relief, as we heard from the Democratic leadership focusing on it today. Even in the midst of this impeachment trial, they are pushing forward with this, and you can definitely expect some sort of relief in the next month or so.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, what else are you looking for in the next week? Is it all going to be about impeachment? What are you going to keep an eye out for? What are you looking at?
Yeah, right now, really very much focused on both impeachment and COVID. I think are the two big things. So we'll be checking in hopefully with our senators throughout the week who will be in this impeachment trial in the afternoons. I mean, essentially we could chat with them in the morning, but they're in those seats in the Senate chamber, no phones, no electronics for the afternoon. So if we don't talk to them before or after, they're in that trial in debate. So it's going to be interesting getting in touch with our senators this week. We'll keep working on it, of course, and then keep an eye on this COVID relief as the House on their side continues to push forward with the negotiations.
Yeah. Well, thank you as always, Kelly, for keeping your eyes and ears out for us on Capitol Hill, especially during these historic times where so many things are just kind of colliding right now on the Hill. It's kind of crazy, but thank you so much, Kelly.
Happy to. Thank you for having me.
And you can see more of Kelly's stories on our website. Just go to wsav.com/Washington. You can catch up on previous episodes of All Politics Are Local on our website as well. Just go to wsav.com/All Politics Are Local. Thank you so much again for watching. I'm John Dowding. We'll see you again next week on All Politics Are Local.